What's up, everyone? Thank you for joining me once again for this Uncharted movie spoiler review. And what can I say? I'll just get straight to it. I really enjoyed Uncharted. At first I was a little iffy with the choosing of Tom Holland as Nathan Drake, but I understand that they were going with the younger version as compared to the video games, where he's a much older guy. And you do play, and I think it's the third film, Uncharted, Drake's Deception, where you do play, in the at a certain point you do play a younger version of him. I don't know if it's like flashbacks, different points where you play a younger version of him. I don't remember in that case, but I know you do play him when he's young. And I'm gonna say I really liked the film. I definitely enjoyed it. I think it's one of the top video game adaptations that's made for film that I can actually say is probably #1, next to Mortal Kombat 1995 and Silent Hill. I forget when that came out, but the first Silent Hill film that came out. It's very hard to make a great or good enough game adaptation apparently into film. I really don't know why it's always a struggle with these producers and studios where they can't just make a great film based on a video game property. I like the Super Mario Brothers movie from back in the days. It's not great, but I really enjoyed it. But people, they don't like it. It might be somewhat of a cult classic now. I don't know, but I know I enjoyed it. Again, I like the Mortal Kombat 1995 film. I didn't like the sequel Annihilation. The reboot that we got not long ago, I liked it, but I still have my gripes on it, and I'm not a big fan of the whole someone has the tattoo, you kill them, you end up getting the tattoo, and you get your powers that way, your abilities. I hate that part about the new Mortal Kombat film. I don't understand it. I don't understand the whole idea of giving us a new character just so we can see it in his eyes. Someone who doesn't have any abilities or so watching the tournament. That was one of the excuses. As an audience, we could see like through his. I just didn't agree. I'm like, what are you talking about? We don't need all that. But I'm still looking forward to the sequel, which was greenlit, I believe, Mortal Kombat. But anyways, let's get straight to it. Uncharted. I dug Tom Holland. I really enjoyed Mark Wahlberg's relationship with him. I think the cast was solid. Antonio Banderas is cool, and you had everyone. You had other actors in the film that I've never seen, and I really enjoyed them for their role. We had Chloe Frazier, who was played by an actress who I've never seen before, but I thought she did a great job. Again, this is a younger Chloe. If you've played the games, Chloe is one of my favorite characters of the Uncharted series. She has her own game with another character where it's like a side type of game next to the fourth video game, you can say. It's its own. It's not like an actual Nathan Drake adventure. It's just a side adventure, which I enjoyed. I beat all the games and I beat that one. But I really enjoyed it, and I didn't expect her in. For some reason, I didn't expect her in the film. I didn't know much about it other than we have Tom Holland and Mark Wahlberg. Now I'm glad they didn't go with the original idea of Mark Wahlberg as Nathan Drake, because Mark Wahlberg, he's a hit and miss for me. I like some of his films. He's great in comedy roles, but when it comes to Nathan Drake, like, he's sarcastic Nathan Drake. And not that I'm saying Mark Wahlberg couldn't pull it off. I just don't know if his take on things as far as humor or so, or against also in writing, I just never saw it. Like, a lot of people were rooting for Nathan Fillion back in the days, and probably even now, for him to be Nathan Drake, because he kind of in the game, Nolan North or Chris, I forget his name. I think it's Nolan North. Forgive me if I butchered that name, but you can look it up. You can Google it. He actually made a cameo in the movie. He was the guy on the beach when they are in the water. He's like, he sees them. He's laying down on the beach chair. But anyways, he did the voice of Nathan Drake, and he sounds like Nathan Fillion. And I've always associated Nathan Fillion with, like, a lot of other people with the character of Nathan Drake, because that just the character and then Nathan, they exude the same kind of personality. So people always was rooting for Nathan Drake and Nathan Fillion. But on YouTube there is a short film with Nathan Fillion as Nathan Drake. So if you haven't seen that and you've seen the Uncharted movie and you're like, wow, I want to see more, I want to play the game or so, definitely check out that short film starring Nathan Fillion. It's really cool. It's really good. That's you could say another universe of what if some that's in a whole nother universe of, you know, Uncharted in the short film, which is great. You know, the multiverse idea is not only specific to Marvel and DC. It's always been its thing, and that's how I always approach game to film adaptations, where I'm like, well, this is another universe. It doesn't have to follow the game or so. But like I said, in most cases, the games to film haven't been great for me. And even if its own thing, like I said, its own universe, I just doesn't mean that I liked it. You know, one of the travesties is Doom. How do you take the concept of demons? You know, it's demons, you know, in space and in this future, and you just make it into a virus. You know, like, it's just trash. I really hate Doom. I don't know why. I had the DVD. I bought it. I don't know. I just bought it, but it's just one of those concepts that it's just like it shouldn't be so hard to make an adaptation. It doesn't have to be 100% the same, even though in most cases I'll advocate, and people would be like, "Oh, it's a copy and paste, etc." Like they would say they don't want that, but I'm like, I prefer that because we're not getting good revisions or so anyway. Like, why don't you just take a lot of the elements into the film? So with this film, Uncharted, they did take pieces here and there, you say Easter eggs, that were in other parts of the different games. There's, you know, there's Drake's Deception, which is the third game. There's Among Thieves, which is the second. And there's the first one, Uncharted. I think it's Drake something. Is Drake's Deception? Yeah, Drake's Deception is the third film. I don't know why it went in that order. But, you know, Uncharted, the first one. So, and then you have, there's a fourth one, which is Among Thieves. No, I think that's part 2. I should have been prepared. I should know. Well, actually, I know it by heart. I don't know why I'm, like, confused. Well, there's 4 games with Nathan Drake. But they did take elements from different parts of the game, and at first I was like, why are we seeing him in that whole cargo, the plane with the cargo, and that whole, you know, hanging, and that whole issue there? That's from the third game. But, you know, it didn't bother me. It was great to see. Would I've liked to have seen it in a sequel, like to follow? Sure. But they can, again, take a lot of elements that they haven't used and still add it into the games. Like in this, they do a sequel, which I believe they're going to do. They mentioned they can do that sequel portion where he's like in the bus or so, and, you know, he's hanging, you know, a whole other element there. And there's just so many things that they can utilize that it didn't bother me that they did portions of the game for this film. I think it worked. You know, I like Tom Holland as Nathan Drake, a younger version. I think he's a great actor. You know, he brings the emotion, and I know he does his own stunts, which is awesome. You know, he's really good at that. And I just hope, the only thing that I hope for him would be that personality, that sarcastic attitude, you know, that approach that Nathan Drake has, especially in like tight situations, like he gives that off even more, you know, as far as character growth or development. That's how his character becomes. Because I don't want to feel like I'm seeing Peter Parker, because that's what I've pretty much seen him a lot in film, with Spider-Man. I think there was another film that I saw him in other than Spider-Man and Avengers, and so was Master and Commander. I think he was in that film with Russell Crowe. Oh no, it was, I think, the film with Chris Hemsworth that was based off of Moby Dick. I think that's where I saw him. But, you know, I like Tom Holland. I just hope that character growth is there, that he actually becomes the Nathan Drake that, you know, we know as he is older in the games and how he acts and stuff. So I'm looking forward to it. Antonio Banderas is cool to see again on film. It's been a while since I've seen him in film, and I was pretty shocked at what happens. Again, this is a spoiler alert, so if you haven't seen it, you know, you can move forward, or maybe I'm gonna just spoil it. It's a spoiler review. But he ends up getting murdered by the person he hired to help him to, you know, get the keys, the crosses or so, to, you know, find the treasure. She ends up killing him. So it was just out of nowhere, because, you know, you would think he's like the main antagonist, and he really isn't. It was actually the person that he hired, who I thought she was cool. I liked her. It was unexpected, so that was pretty cool. You know, a little twist there. But I would hope maybe that, because I don't think she's in the game, the character, but I would hope in the sequel we actually get, you know, villains that are from the actual game itself. Depending how they want. I'm thinking they're gonna do a franchise from what I'm reading, so maybe they'll actually bring in characters from said franchise, especially the first game, like where he had a buddy who eventually, I guess, betrays him, or so in Sully. So I forget the name of that character, but they did bring the brother. They introduced him in the first film, and they imply like he's dead. But if you've played the games, you know that he's not dead. That he was, you know, caught in jail in another country. And the ending of this film, that's exactly what happens. He's in a jail, and he's still writing letters. So I wasn't surprised that they showed that. The only thing I would have wished they would have put that as an end credit versus the end scene of the film, because the actual end credit was the scene that we saw where Sully, you know, he comes in to save Nathan, but he has the mustache, and he's like, Nathan's looking at him like, what is that on your face? Like, we saw it in the, you know, in the trailer, and you made me sit through the credits, or portion of the credits, just to see what I kind of saw in the trailer already, like what I knew what to expect. So I felt like that was, I don't know why they do that. There might have been more to that scene. To be honest, I kind of was walking away. I was like, I knew that was going to be the end credit because they never showed it in the movie. So I'm like, I really don't care. But they might have done some more stuff with that. So if you haven't seen it and you like spoiler reviews and you're watching this and you're like, I'm going to go see it for myself, stick around. They will show that scene. And again, I've not seen it in full. There might be more to it. But, you know, I liked it for an adaptation of the game. It's its own thing. It did have that, you know, adventure. Like if you like Indiana Jones, you like National Treasure, like you will have that in this movie, but it's still its own thing. I didn't like the idea that they're really, so in the game there's a lot of climbing, right? You don't need all that in the movie, but I didn't really see that in the film itself, you know, where he's climbing. I think there's the only part where I see him climb is when he jumps onto the boat, and he jumps onto the boat and he's climbing on the boat, and then he gets inside, and that was it. Like, you don't really see much of him scaling a mountain or so, or, you know, buildings, which is fine. You don't need that, but I would have wanted more of that because, you know, that's part of Uncharted, but that's like a minor thing. You know, they did have like the little puzzles, which, like, again, there's some things that reminded me of the games that was there, so I thought that was cool. However, I didn't like the whole map with the two cross keys where he figures out that he has to take out part of the jewel and put in a map of where, I guess, where he got them, and then like turns it, and then where they point is where the location of the treasure is. I thought that was corny. Like, I didn't believe it as something that, I mean, I guess, you know, whoever makes these things, that's what it is. I don't know, I just didn't like the way they did that. I've seen a lot of films where people find, you know, clues and stuff and ways that end up finding the treasure. That I don't know why that particular, I thought it was corny. I thought it could have been done better, instead of just like placing them down with the points and then like turning it to be like, wherever the cross points the tops, it's where the treasure is. I don't know, I just thought that was kind of whack. I know in the short film they utilized like this bracelet which has, I believe it was the coordinates, and the way they figured it out, that was pretty cool. But yeah, I mean, I really enjoyed Uncharted. I'm definitely looking forward to a second film. You know, again, Mark Wahlberg, he's grown on me over time. There's only a handful of films that I like him in, but I'm glad that he's not Nathan Drake, but I do accept him as Sully. I know they wanted to do Robert De Niro. Perhaps he was probably going to be Sully in Mark Wahlberg's version. And I'm like, no, I like Robert, but not for Sully. And I think they made an idea of Jack Nicholson, and I'm like, no. Like, why is it so hard to cast an actor that exudes the characters of the games? Like, it shouldn't be that hard. I don't know why it's always like a thing. But I like, you know, the cast. They did impress me. At first, you know, I was hesitant, but, you know, I feel like you couldn't go wrong with Tom Holland. Again, Mark Wahlberg, he was a hit and miss, but I thought he fit the role. And again, when if they decide to go with the route of the film as a franchise as they get older and time perhaps passes by, and then you'll see like the white hair of Sully, he's more older guy, and Nathan Drake is older, I would like to see that. I was gonna say maybe if they do skip it, they'll just recast the roles to fit it in. Perhaps maybe they don't need to do that. You can still use the same actors and just make up. That's something that I would like to see. I would like to see an older version of Nathan Drake. You know, we got a film where he's younger, maybe another film where he's young again, and then maybe the third film, they're gonna do a trilogy where he's like an older guy. Like, you can fast forward it. I don't see what the problem is with that. I would like it to be a little bit more closer to the actual games as far as age is concerned. But you know, who cares? That's just minor stuff, but that's just what I would like to see. But other than that, I really recommend Uncharted. Again, it's a great, you know, time to, you know, pass if you want to watch a film and you're not sure what to watch before Batman comes out March 4th. You know, you can go check out Uncharted. It's doing very, very well right now. Again, for now, it's #1 until I guess Batman comes out. I'm looking forward to that, the Batman. So I'll be doing a review for that film. But I do recommend Uncharted, especially if you're a gamer. I think you would like it. You know, if you're so particular about certain things, and you're okay with, you know, adaptations that isn't Resident Evil. You know, that's another franchise that I am not big on. I only like the second film out of that series. I am not big on the film franchise of Resident Evil, and I haven't even seen that remake of it that came out not long ago, which I didn't hear good things about, but I'm pretty sure it was more closer than what we got with Mila Jovovich. But yeah, again, Uncharted, check it out. If you're a big fan of Uncharted, support it. I think you'll like it. I liked it a lot, and you know, my cousin ended up seeing it, and he actually hit me up. He texted me. He was like, "Wow, I actually enjoyed this film," and I was surprised. I didn't think he was gonna like it, but he did. So I would recommend it. Check it out, Uncharted. Let me know what you think if you see it. You know, please hit me up on the comments. Let's have a conversation. Like the video if you like, and please subscribe to my channel if you want to see more reviews. Hit that notification button. Check out my other film reviews. Perhaps you've seen those films and you want to see my take on it, or like my, you know, little notes about the films. Please check them out, and please check out my short films. You like short films? You like films in general? I have some short films. Please watch them. I put a lot of effort into making my films over the years. I've definitely improved, and I'm excited, you know, just to be able to put it out there and show you all. So Pumpkin Seek is the latest film that I've put up in October of 2021. That's nominated for 2 awards for the Brightside Tavern Shorts Film Fest in March for Best Experimental and Best Micro Short. So it would mean a lot if you could check out Pumpkin Seek. Again, you know, please leave comments, guys. I really would appreciate comments, conversations. Keep it professional. I welcome it. Thank you so much for watching this review. Thank you again for any other videos that you may watch. And until next time, later.